We can make it if we try, just the two of us. Just the two of us. Me and me. Okay, anyways. A lot of y'all expect or want princess treatment, but you're out here treating yourself like a whole peasant. Hola, hola, hola a todos. Es tu prima favorita, Bobby here, and I just like to talk. Welcome to or welcome back to my channel, where I like to just run my mouth about things that crossed my mind. And today, something that crossed my mind came from a conversación that I recently had with myself when I was really just thinking, what have I been telling myself lately? I take myself back to my opening statement of this video of expecting princess treatment, but then it's like, really, do you treat yourself like one? Do you talk to yourself like one? How can you expect other people to treat you like one when you don't even see yourself as one for real? And that brings me into my point that you are how you speak to yourself. You are what you tell yourself. You receive what it is that you speak. So what is it that you're telling yourself? I am a person who wholeheartedly believes that we, I guess in a sense, if you want to go there and say co-create our reality, right? And things happen to and for us based on what it is that we believe within, based on either those limiting beliefs or those beliefs and desires of abundance, and the way that we talk to ourselves and the way that we think in regards as to who we are, what we want, and the possibility to or to not achieve those things. So really thinking about, what is my belief system built upon? Is it built upon limiting beliefs that I was taught to believe? Or is it built on beliefs of abundance that I have taught myself to believe? And honestly, I'm still a work in progress. So it's a little bit of both. It's a little bit of both, which is what brought me to that thought. There were things that I was specifically thinking about within my life, and how these amazing things are happening on this one end, and how there are other things that I'm still kind of like dealing with or getting through or processing. And that's what led me to have that conversation with myself. Well, what is it that I truly believe? Because I was like, something's got to give here. Something is not right in the mixture. There's not enough sugar in this Kool-Aid, or there's too much sugar in this Kool-Aid, and I need more limon and agua. So it really had me thinking, like, Bobby, what is it that you are telling yourself around these things or these desires that you want? Why is it that you feel, this is me talking to me, hablando conmigo, why is it that I feel that in certain aspects of my life I can be so abundant and I can feel so relaxed and so free to have all these things just flow to me abundantly, and then in these other aspects it feels like a struggle, it feels like a fight, it feels like I'm constantly trying to prove or trying to break down things, or I'm just not doing something right. And it had me thinking, okay, well, take these things that come so easily to you. What do you tell yourself about these things? What do I tell myself when it comes to my finances, when it comes to my career, when it comes to opportunities that bring me more opportunities? How is it that I look at these things? And I look at these things with an air of just beauty and acceptance, and just knowing that this is gonna work out for me, and this is gonna happen for me, and I work hard, but also I'm worthy, and also I have these positive beliefs around these things. And then looking over to this other side, and not to get too much into my business or whatever, but just taking like maybe romantic relationships, for example, where it's like, okay, what are you telling yourself on this aspect where it doesn't seem as easy, you know, where you do have these opportunities or you do have these prospects or whatever the case may be, but then it just doesn't seem like things flow as easy on this side as they do with this side. And for you, that could be opposite, right? You have all this luck when it comes to love, or all this luck when it comes to friendship, or I don't even want to say luck, but all of this abundance and positivity and just allowance and openness when it comes to certain things. And then maybe when it comes to finances, or when it comes to opportunities, or when it comes to jobs, or whatever it may be for you, you might feel completely different, or you might feel like it's more difficult, or you might feel like that you're having to fight for it or push for it or whatever it is. that is when you really have to sit and just evaluate, how do I look at the things that flow easy into my life versus the things that don't flow as easily? And what am I telling myself when it comes to the things that flow easier to me versus the things that I feel are a bit more difficult for me to acquire? And I think that once you really start to evaluate that, you can start doing the work that it takes to train those thoughts or reframe those thoughts so that those things can flow easier. And I'm not going to sit up here and tell you that it's super easy, because it's not. It's not when you have created core beliefs of yourself based off of certain experiences or certain things that you've been taught, certain things that you've gone through. So it does take a lot to transform your mind and transform your view around those things, but it's something that you have to work at if you want all of those things that seem a little bit harder or a little bit more difficult to be just as easy and as free-flowing as those things that you don't think are as hard or are as difficult. So a couple ways of reframing your mind, reframing those limiting beliefs, reframing the things that you might be telling yourself based on what you've been taught or the experiences that you had. For one, normalizing thinking highly of yourself. Normalizing thinking highly of yourself is something that is really going to help you, right? It's going to help you put yourself on this higher pedestal where you do feel more deserving of what you want. And when I say thinking higher of yourself, I don't mean thinking of yourself above other people, right? I don't mean putting other people below you, but I do understand that sometimes we have this way of telling ourselves that we are below other people, putting ourselves below other people, or just putting ourselves below in general because we don't see ourselves on the level of being worthy of achieving A, B, C, D, whatever it is that you can fill in the blank, however, whatever that means for you. Sometimes we look at other people and we're like, of course they have that because they're this type of person, or of course they have that because they're so worthy. Of course they have that for whatever reasons it is that we're telling ourselves. And then we look at ourselves and we're like, of course I don't, because I'm not this and I'm not that and I don't have that and I don't have this. And sometimes it is true, right? And I say it is true because sometimes there are certain things that take a certain level of skill to build, right? I can't look at a pro skateboarder and be like, of course he has championship medals in skateboarding when I don't even skateboard. Okay, that's gonna take me getting out there and doing the work and putting in the effort, right? But if I'm looking at someone else that is in my field, whether they be extremely more talented than I am, or we're on the same level, or whatever the case may be, I don't know their story. I don't know how they got there. I don't know what they're telling themselves, but I know that I could be telling myself a completely different thing that is holding me back. I could be telling myself, of course I haven't had this opportunity because I'm not worthy of it. I'm not good enough. I'm not this enough. I'm not that enough. When none of those things may be true at all. When those things are just things that I'm telling myself because I'm scared. And that's another thing of like really digging into, okay, I've been telling myself this. I've been creating from this limiting belief. Why am I doing that? Where is it coming from? How do I find the root of it and pull it up and throw it out? And once you get there, that's when you'll be able to start planting a new root, planting a new seed of, no, I am worthy. No, I am just as talented. No, I am just as qualified. And maybe I may not have been in the game for 15 or 20 years, but the years that I have been in it and the work that I have put in are just enough to excel me to higher heights or to where it is that I want to be. I am high and mighty. I am qualified. I am here. So normalize thinking highly of yourself. Even if you gotta fake it at first, even if you have to keep telling yourself that over and over and over, even when it hurts, I'm telling you, that is something that works. But you can't just say it. You can't just say it mindlessly. You can't just say it just to say it. You have to really tell yourself that until you start to believe it. So normalize thinking highly of yourself. Normalize putting yourself on a pedestal that I know you out there putting other people on, because I do it too in certain aspects, and I've done it, and I've had to do the work in some places and am still doing the work in other places. Go ahead and flick them off of that pedestal and put yourself there, because nobody else deserves to be on the pedestal that rightfully belongs to you in your mind. Number two, not only do you need to think highly of yourself, but you actually need to value yourself. That can also be easier said than done as well, because a lot of times we think because we live ourselves, like my friends joke about how much Bobby loves Bobby all the time and how conceited I am, whatever the case may be. And they've been saying that for years, even before they even knew how far I had really come in my self-love journey, because now you really can't tell me nothing, because I really do love myself as much as I say I do. But before I was there, I was telling myself that, right? I was normalizing speaking highly of myself, speaking love into myself, all of those things. But even once I got to the point where I did love myself, I still had to learn to value myself, right? There is a complete difference between self-love and self-value or self-worth. You can love yourself, you can be enamored by yourself. Heck, you could be super duper conceited and you still don't see yourself as valuable, because there are still things that you are telling yourself where you are accepting less than what the higher version of you would be getting, or would be putting up with, or should be getting, or is deserving of, right? That's why you see people who it's like, oh, they love themselves so much, like they do all these great things for themselves, but then they're allowing themselves to be manipulated or played with, or they're settling for less, be it in their relationships or in, you know, their job opportunities, or whatever the case may be. But these people love themselves, because you can very well love yourself and still not value yourself. So it is really honing in to, okay, I love myself, but me loving me also means that I have to see value within myself. I have to look within me and see more of what it is that I'm worth. What do I desire, and why do I feel like I can't have that? And if it's because I'm not valuing myself, then what am I telling myself to make me devalue myself? What are things that I need to cut out of my life so that I can value myself more? What are things that I need to turn away from, or people that I need to let go of, or spaces that I need to remove myself from that are filling in these low value limiting beliefs, so that I can get to a place where I truly am valuing myself and I am truly able to see my worth and live within my worth. Gots to know your value, because you are valuable. Everybody in this world is valuable, but some people just really don't see it. But you gonna see it. You gonna learn. You're gonna learn. The next thing that comes along with valuing yourself, once you get to that point, or once you start to make that transformation, is you have to start accepting only what you deserve as a valuable person, right? Now that you've seen that, oh, I was settling for less because I wasn't valuing myself. I was allowing people to play in my face because I didn't value myself. I was allowing myself to dig in the trash and do all of these things because I didn't value myself. But now that I understand that, and now that I understand that there are certain ways that I need to move or maneuver, or certain spaces that I have to remove myself from, I have to now understand that there are certain things that I cannot accept because I do value myself more. When you walk through this world only accepting what you deserve based off of your value, that is how other people know how to treat you. That is how other people know how to approach you. So if you do not see yourself as valuable, you are going to accept the lowest of low, right? And when other people see that, no matter how much you love yourself, no matter how beautiful you are, no matter how much of a princesa you want to call yourself, you devaluing yourself inherently gives other people the green light to do the same. So if you say that you value yourself, if you say that you see that you are worth more, you have to now maneuver in a way where you only accept that out of a place of worthiness. I see my value, I know I'm worth more, and I'm not going to take anything less than that, because that's going to show other people that, oh, I can't play around with her. Oh, I can't lowball you because you know your value. I can't lowball you because you know your value, and you are only going to accept what you feel like you are worth. And if you see your value, you see it up here, and you accept nothing below that, then I can't come in and be like, hey, can I give you this? Because you're gonna be like, get that out of here. Déjame ver. Like you're going to say no, because you are only accepting what you're worth. And when you know that your worth is up here, you cannot accept anything that is below that. And that's how other people are gonna see you. That's how other people are gonna look at you and be like, her BS rater is already clocking me. I'm not even going to approach her. I'm not even going to try that. The last thing that I'm gonna add to this is you must treat yourself with kindness and care. And that goes back into speaking to yourself better, the way that you talk to yourself. A lot of us are so hard on ourselves, and rightfully so. You know, sometimes I do have to tell myself, hey, you're slacking, get it together, right? But there also is a kindness and care that I approach myself with as if I was approaching my best friend or younger sister or somebody that I really, really, really care about. And that way I am able to be more understanding to myself and more kind to myself. If you just go through life all the time, just beating down on yourself, just telling yourself, oh, stop being a Beyonce, you know, get your together, always yelling at yourself, always being rude and unkind and all of that stuff to yourself, you can get somewhere. I'm not going to say that you're not going to get anywhere, but you will be so hardened, possibly a little bit unfriendly, and definitely not able to extend that care to other people. And ultimately, I just don't think that you would be truly, truly happy, because you do have to show yourself a level of kindness and care. And again, that's not saying don't ever be hard on yourself. We are our biggest critics, but we also need to be our biggest cheerleaders and our biggest caretakers. If you don't take care of yourself first, if you are not kind to yourself, you are not going to speak to yourself kindly, right? And you might respond to all of the negative talk that you give yourself. You might respond to all of the reprimanding that you do to yourself, but you will respond a lot better and be able to be a lot more patient with yourself and a lot more able to just pivot, learn lessons, and really be able to extend yourself grace if you are able to be kind to yourself. I tell people all the time that the biggest changes in my life came when I made the decision that I was going to be my biggest best friend. Now, that is nothing against mi amigas, that is nothing against my best friend or those people closest to me, but I know that it starts with me. I know that at the beginning of the day and at the end of the day, all I have is myself. I came into this world on my own, even if I had a twin. I came into this world as me, and when I die, I'm only gonna have me. At the end of the day, I do have my friends that I can lean on, but when I lay down and go to sleep at night, when I lay down and meditate, when I get on my knees and pray, when I am quiet in my mind, or I'm in that alone time, or I'm over here, you know, writing in my journal or breaking down, that's me. That's me and only me, myself, and I. And if I am not kind to myself, other people are not going to be kind to me. The world is already harsh enough. Why do I want to be another person that beats down on myself too? Once I learned to treat myself as if I was a friend or a sister or someone that I truly, truly, truly cared about, my whole life changed. I stopped trying to be this perfect person, this ideal version of myself that was basically unachievable. Not to say that you shouldn't have an ideal version of yourself, but this perfectly perfect, flawless, ideal version of myself that I had was unachievable. And I was so harsh on myself trying to get there until I learned how to be kind to myself, until I learned how to extend grace to myself, until I learned how to be patient with myself, how to allow myself to feel my feelings so they wouldn't bottle up and I wouldn't go off and go crazy on people, how to allow myself to be soft, to be loved, to be cared for. I couldn't do any of that until I was able to do it for myself first. And I think some of that also might stem from some of our, you know, childhood, some of the traumas that we've had where we've had to be tough for so long, where we were the only people that were providing ourselves protection in a sense. Like, I had no one else that I could talk to, or no one else that I could turn to, or no one else that I could really be vulnerable with. So I learned to not even be vulnerable with myself, other than, you know, my journal writings, because I've been doing that since I learned how to write. But when I really learned to see myself as this human being that makes mistakes, as this human being that is learning, that is growing, that is going to get it right sometimes, and that is going to completely fail other times, this human being that needed to cry sometimes just as much as I needed to be reprimanded sometimes, this human being that needed a kindness and care that other people can't give me, so I had to learn to give it to myself. You talking about self-love, self-worth going through the roof? Like, there's something about treating yourself better that, one, it just makes you feel good. It just makes you feel so good because you love yourself, right? But it also invites other people to be kind and care about you too, because people see the way that you move with such grace, the way that, yeah, you can be hard on yourself, but you're also going to allow yourself to make mistakes, and you're also going to extend grace to yourself. You're also going to be kind to yourself. You're also going to be loving to yourself. You're also going to value yourself. That's going to give other people that notion of, oh, if I want to approach this person, if I want to be around this person, I have to do that. I have to be kind and caring. I have to come with something. I have to treat this person of the utmost value and respect, because that's what they're coming with. That's what they're showing me. That's how they're teaching me that I have to treat them. And that alone spins right back into the way that you speak to yourself. Because again, if you are always cursing yourself out, telling yourself how stupid you are, telling yourself how dumb you are, then when you do something right, you're like, finally, good, I've been trying to tell you. Know, you cannot talk to yourself like that, because you'll never be able to really understand yourself. You'll never be able to really be in that moment with yourself. You'll never be able to fully learn from your mistakes if you don't allow yourself the grace to be able to understand, where did I go wrong and how do we fix that, versus, you stupid, don't do that again, keep going. You see how much of a difference that is? Anyway, I'm not gonna make this video super long-winded. All in all, I just wanted to just talk to the thought of, how do you speak to yourself, and how important it is to reframe the words that you're telling yourself so that you can rewire yourself for success. Rewiring your brain for success, it starts with speaking to yourself better. It starts with speaking more highly of yourself. It starts with valuing yourself. It starts with only accepting those things that meet that value that you have set on yourself. And it starts with being kind and loving to yourself. I would love to hear y'all's thoughts on this. If any of y'all are currently going through this process, learning and unlearning, becoming your own best friend, whatever the case may be, please feel free to share your thoughts and your comments below. And thank you for coming to my YouTube channel. Thank you for joining me, tu prima favorita, Bobby here, and I will see you next time. Bye.